Shame, ain't no place searching for the lost and found. But you don't care, you're unaware. Keep moving like the scars aren't even there. It's in the air, like a blazing flare. I'm staring 'cause the flames will burn us down. That's why I gave you everything. Held you close by the stormy seas. You meant the world to me. Kiss your head when you cry for me. Hold you in my mind, pain was over. If you want my love, like shadows in the atmosphere, charting the stratosphere.
Good morning.
Oh, that's us.
Oh, it is. Hello.
Hello there.
Can we do something with the graphics to make me lose 10 pounds?
Yes, me as well. Is that possible?
Yes.
No?
I need to,
you
like-
say you're good at stuff. Come on.
Yeah, like I need to be like a little sleeker. Can you elongate me? Weight is fine if you.
All right. Well, it's good to see everybody. We're out there.
One. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Fabio's running. Watch out. I like handheld. It makes me feel like a rock star. So you got the fancy like that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I may have done on vacation a couple weeks ago with my 15-year-old.
Just use these. I don't know why those aren't working right now.
How you doing?
Oh, really?
How you doing? I feel like there's like a backup. Can you not do the echo thing? How you doing? Echo thing?
On the
TV.
Turn that down.
There should be a remote up.
All right.
Yeah.
I don't have it, right?
I can't see it.
She got them old eyes.
Shut it.
All right, well-oiled machine up here. We're ready to rock and roll now. It feels a little awkward with the mic.
We can punt with a mic.
I think we can do it.
Feel weird. All right.
Do you
Good
feel?
morning.
Do you feel a little bit like a rock star?
No.
Okay. All right. Hi. She opened that door like expecting nobody to be there. Then all of a sudden we had this going on. So we'll try this again. Now we have live mics. Good morning. Good to see everybody in our Bowie office out here in Maryland. Got some fun stuff to go over today, so we will hop in.
It's gonna be weird. I don't like.
Well, later we also have a promise during the break where you guys can hear us. Kara promised to do a TikTok dance later. So we have that to look forward to.
Yeah, we do. That's
We're-
going to be a whole lot better than anything we say up here.
Exactly. We're gonna make it wait till later so people have to tune in until they get the
Plus,
dance.
Before they get to see
It's called a cliffhanger. Everybody text all your friends, log in.
Sarah and her TikTok dance.
All right. So I'm going to start with the top agents for the month of June. It was June last month, right?
Yes,
For in Maryland, all month long.
All month long.
So
You
I'm-
know, there's only like 5.5 months till Christmas. I'm going to do this all the way up until Christmas. There
For
is
those of you new to the
public
company,
service
Sarah
announcement.
loves Christmas and loves talking about it
Love
very,
me
very
some
early.
Christmas, I will start decorating it like October.
She puts up like 92 trees in her house.
Yes.
How many, for real?
6.
6? Is that it?
Right now, only because I may do 7 this year because I've got a room.
That's insane.
My kids all have a tree, and then every room has a tree, and every tree has a theme.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
You got to drive from here to South Riding. That's a hike. She just did it this morning.
Funniest thing is too is I decorate my whole house from top to bottom, and I spend weeks doing it, and I don't hold any Christmas activities in my house.
Yeah, just her family of 4 gets to see it,
Just me
and her parents.
walking around. Yeah, my kids and my parents.
All right. So the top awards for the month of June. Some of you guys put up amazing numbers.
Wow, you guys.
So I'm going to start. I'm going to give the top agents in volumes. This is volume and sales in the month of June. Starting with number 1, Mr. Sam Gupta, almost 8.4 million in sales, almost 8.4 million. Amazing, Sam. Rex Thomas, over 4.3 million. Johnson,
Go ahead.
Kadam Kulatil.
Did we say that right?
Johnson, I nailed it. 2.9, almost 3 million. Aru Karazmi, 2.75 million, and Claudia Chang had over 2.5 million. So great job to you
Good
five.
job, you guys.
Great month in the month of June.
That's awesome. And look at that. Aria's 2.7 is 1 transaction.
That was a big one.
That's a big one. Love that. And to our top agents in June for transactions, we got more people coming in. Transactions, look at Sam Gupta again with 20 transactions.
20
in June.
transactions in a
20
month.
Transactions, and he's not a team. He's
That's
an individual.
that's a few transactions.
That's crazy. Rex Thomas had 7.5. Alu had 6. Johnson, Claudia, and Reynal all had 5. Congratulations.
You didn't even try
guys.
Johnson's name.
No, I did
good,
not.
Good job, everybody. From a great month.
Congratulations. Look, I know my limitations.
Oh, we got to flip them over. I did front and back.
I noticed that.
Trying to save some paper. I probably could have just done one side. Top 8. Now this is our teams. Teams for the month of June.
Well-oiled
Our
machine,
top
people.
team. Oh wow, over 8.8 million
Wow,
to
look
the
at there.
Westerland Group.
Nice
Great
job.
job out of our Clarksville office, the Westerland Group. Tracy Properties team in Bel Air, almost 3.3 million. Great job, Tracy Sims and team. Team Flow D out of the
Aw, he
Bowie.
didn't have nearly enough sass.
Team Flow D.
Yeah, he loves it.
A little more sass. The cold cuts down the sass a little bit.
Down the sass.
Over 2.8 million. Monumental Properties Group over 2.2, and Team Harper, my man Carl Harper in the
Nice
back there,
job.
over 2.2 million as well. So great job to our top teams
In
for the month
volume,
of
that's
June.
fantastic. And top teams for transaction numbers.
It looks like
the
it's the same
Westerland Group.
5
It
in a
is
same
14.
same order.
Tracy Properties team with 10. Team Flow D and Monumental Properties Group with 7, and Team Harper with 5. Congratulations, everyone. That's
Great
awesome.
Great job to everybody for a great month of June. I want to give you some office updates. We probably don't need to give all the Virginia ones we gave before, but the couple relevant ones that I know are more relevant to all the Maryland, D.C. folks. So first one, if you go back down a couple slides, Ethan, to the Washingtonian Boulevard.
Look how pretty that building is.
It is gorgeous. So it is on the Rio Lakefront. We are, I am anxiously awaiting the final document. We have agreed to all terms, but I'm waiting to get final sign-offs. When we get this done, we're going to move from Bethesda to the Rio office. I'm hoping it's by the end of July. If not, I'm going to have to beg, borrow, and steal Bethesda people to let me stay for a little bit into August, but I know that's only like 2 weeks away. Now, the good part is the office is ready to go. We're going to sublease from Sodexo, so they've just got to take out whatever we want to take out. They're going to let them leave all their beautiful conference room furniture. You can see the second slide there. Go to the next one for me,
I want
Ethan.
an office like right over the lake.
That's what we've got here. We've got a couple looking right over the lake, and those conference rooms and the reception areas, it will all be decked out, ready to go for us. We'll take down the Sodexo, put up a Samson and some Cardinal signs. But They're going to do a little bit of construction to make it the way that I want it for the next 8 to 9 years, but they can do that around us, so we can move in literally as soon as they say, okay, we got occupancy, you can go. So it could come together here hopefully in the next 2 weeks. Worst case, it's into August, but I'm trying to make this happen as quick as I can because I think we're going to love it. We've had Fernando went out there, Bruce went out there, and Adrian and I have seen it, so it's a really beautiful place. So I think we're going to be super excited about it. The other really relevant update for, it's tough to maneuver your sheets
With a mic and a flip
and a
upside
mic,
down. Yeah.
and yes, it's a lot of things going on here.
Dexterity up here.
Is Frederick. So we're going to talk about Kim here in a second. But Frederick office, we have found a beautiful, beautiful place. It's very similar to the quality of the Rio place that you see behind there. Even might be even a little nicer. Just doesn't
Kim,
overlook
does
a lake.
Kim get a lake?
There's no lake. Kim doesn't get a lake. But there's beautiful offices. It is fully furnished, ready to go. So theoretically, I sent back a counter on Friday. I'm hoping we're very close on a couple terms. If we come to a deal there, it could come together quickly. When you have a cold, I think you should work on talking slower, not faster.
You have to enunciate.
Enunciate. Got it.
Yes.
So it could be August 1, maybe as late as September 1, but that could be up and going fairly quickly. They're going to let all the brand new furniture they bought for the new tenant be in there, and it's going to be rocking and rolling fairly quickly. So my hope is we'll have final announcements on that in the next week or two once we get some terms hammered out. But I'm excited about the possibility of Frederick. She's laughing at me. What did I do?
I'm laughing at Ethan.
Oh.
We lost feed, so Ethan's like, his face was like, It's really weird talking into this thing. You don't realize how much you talk and how much I comment on things you say until I have to keep going like this.
Right.
Yeah, and then I'm
Should
like,
be a-
ooh,
should
I
be a-
talk a lot.
It should be a message to you.
It's totally a message to me. I was like,
It's
ooh, I
all-
talk a lot.
It's also getting in a lot of curls.
Right?
In case we didn't get our curl workout in.
Switch hands.
Exactly. So I'm excited about Frederick and Gaithersburg. Those are the two kind of offices right on the front of the front burner right now for us. Fairfax is another big one I would say is going to be ready by the end of July. So I think all the other – and Columbia I guess is relevant. We've got – so I announced last Wednesday – it was a couple weeks away because nobody told me anything and nobody told Adrian anything. And apparently it's ready and they're like, oh, it's been ready for you. It's like, were you going to tell us that it was ready for us? So I think Adrian might have even gone up there yesterday or today to make sure everything was good, do a final walkthrough. So we might have that second level of Columbia like now, like maybe even today. So if some of you are out there. So we
Anybody
will
want those offices, make sure you reach out to Adrienne and she will put you on the list.
We've got 9 extra offices, a whole row of beautiful cubicles, huge conference room, some good open areas, and another big kitchen up there. So it's a great second suite up there, and I think we'll be able to expand our Columbia presence a lot. I think some of those first level, or I guess it's the third level, but our initial level, some of those people might like the fourth level even better, might be moving upstairs. So we'll see how that goes. But those will all be available to us pretty quickly.
The Jeffersons theme song went through my head, moving on up. Like as soon as you
We're moving
I was,
on
like,
up.
singing in my head.
Exactly.
Whew.
So
ADD strong this morning. Sorry, folks. All right.
how much coffee did you get on the ride up here?
I had a couple of thermoses.
A couple of She's the only person that starts a ride and packs 2 thermoses to go with her.
I packed, the tumblers.
Yes.
I just need 2 of them.
Just need to.
And I'm good.
So some upcoming lunch and learns. I
Yes.
know everybody always wants to know.
Where are you today?
Where I'm down the street. After here, we're gonna go out to the Lily and Cactus. So if you're watching right now, you're in the DC location. Look, we always love Darcy who just show up. It's the Lily and Cactus in the Hilton Garden Inn, walking distance from our DC office. We couldn't get the DC conference room today to be right there, but we will be doing the lunch and learn there from 12 to 2:30. So I'd love to see you or any of your colleagues or friends out there. Even if you're newer to us, I mean, a lot of times I do this. I was in Lake Ridge last week, and I had 4 or 5 agents there that had just joined SAMHSA in the last couple of weeks. Or one had been here with us like 4 or 5 months, and she's like, I never really got to a presentation. I just kind of joined because my friend said it was great. And she was like, I had no idea some of the stuff that we do and we can do and all the things that we had. So they really thought it was nice to come see the full presentation, all the things that SAMHSA has to offer. So hopefully I'll see somebody down in D.C. in a couple hours.
And along that same vein, make sure you watch an updated orientation if you haven't watched one in 4 to 6 months, because we are constantly changing and rolling things out. We've got some big announcements next week at the sales meeting on new technologies we're rolling out. So we are constantly adding and changing. So make sure you keep up so that you can take advantage of all the stuff we offer.
And if you're not going to go to D.C. and you're not overly busy with other stuff, today, 12 to 2, Thomas and Issa will be doing one of those new agent onboarding orientations right here in Bowie. You can come sit here in person because it's easier to pay attention and focus in here in person, or you can watch live on the Cardinal Nest. Ethan will stay here and hopefully have live feeds up for the whole thing on that one. He's shaking his head. Yes, he feels pretty confident about that. So they'll be here 12 to 2 to do another live orientation with Thomas and Iso, two of our great onboarding service specialists. So we'll be at Lillian Cactus today. Next Tuesday, we'll be back at our home our home field advantage International Country Club for Lunch and Learn. I did that perfectly. All right. Then next, I guess the 27th is 2 weeks.
22, 27.
The 20.
22,
The virtuals.
Virtual 22.
I don't even announce the virtuals. We'll
There's
also be virtual next on the 22nd.
Share
so
with your friends.
Share with your friends if they can't get out to
Facebook.
event. I go live on joinsamson.com. The 27th, though, is interesting because we're going to be at that new Gaithersburg location. So a lot of you might be interested in seeing it. Hopefully, we're in by the 27th, 2 weeks from now. If we're not, then we're going to be almost in. But we are doing a lunch and learn in that same Rio shopping center. We can walk back and forth in the Marriott, right there, the Gaithersburg Marriott. So that'll be exciting. The 27th, 29th in Arlington. And then I'll go one more. Bowie will be back here August 5th. So about, 3 or 4 weeks from now, Thursday, August 5th. We'll be at the Comfort Inn right down the road here where we went last time. So the Comfort Inn on Thursday, August 5th in Bowie. If you ever go to joinsamson.com, you can see the updated list of all of them. We typically have them planned out at least a month or two in advance to make sure that we're scheduled out properly. The other exciting thing that isn't in here, but I mentioned it last week, is we're doing a lot of grand openings. There's so many of our offices that we've opened in the last 16 months, and we weren't allowed to see each other without masks and social distancing, so we couldn't properly celebrate these new offices and the excitement that came with them in all these locations. So we're going to do 2 in August,
It's party time.
2 in September, 2 in October, 2 in November, 2 in December,
Yes.
so that we don't do 12 at once. You know, that's going to be exhausting for everybody involved. So in August, we're going to start with Bel Air and Winchester, and they're at the end of August. I believe Bel Air's like the 25th. It's on the Nest, and the did I get it right? Oh, there, get that. And then the 31st, I believe, is Winchester as well. So both of those lunch learns are those grand opening parties. There'll be more information to come on that, but that's everybody. That's even if you don't belong in Well Air.
Well Air. You too can change your name to Well Air.
In Bel Air, Maryland.
Yes.
White Marsh, Columbia. If you're anywhere in the area, you're just curious to see it, come up to the grand opening.
Come celebrate.
Have a drink, have some
Yes.
food with us, hang out, see the office, kind of socialize with some of your
There
other
will be,
Sampson
like,
agents.
cookies, cupcakes, something like good stuff. all the important things.
Are you in charge of the menu?
I might have a role in it.
Then we'll probably have donuts then, I'm guessing.
Maybe.
But we're excited about all these grand opening parties because all these offices were great. We're excited to open them, but we want to open them with the right strategy. So I think I missed a slide here. That's what I was looking for that. Why don't you go while I call?
I will do that. So we are super excited to announce that as we open Frederick, we have worked with Kim Chen, who most of you probably know already. Do you want to stand up and come up here and be on camera? She says no. You have to so they can see your pretty face. So Kimberly has been with Kara in Clarksville for a really long time and been helping out. So Kim has been so gracious to help us now with our compliance, signing, helping back up Kara because she's overwhelmed with a lot of agent issues and such. So Kimberly is our new signing broker for Maryland. Our infrastructure is changing to Maryland a little bit like it is in Virginia. So whereas we have Steve in Virginia to do signing, we also now have Kim in Maryland to do signing. So the way it's going to work for agents is agents, if you have signatures you need on your buyer brokers or your listing agreements or you have general contract questions, you will first send those to your office manager. Kim is their backup. So if they're on vacation or they can't get to you right away, Kim is going to back them up. So you would then call Kim.
Also, all of our Virginia agents. We have a lot of
Yeah.
Virginia and DC agents that maybe their
that
office
that are Maryland licensed.
that are Maryland licensed. So
Yeah.
that's where you probably get a lot of them too.
Yeah.
Is so those
So you
those
don't
people
have
now
a Maryland
come to
office
Kim.
manager. Come to
Kim
Kim.
and Kara are both available to help with broker questions, but it frees Kara up a little bit more to focus on broker questions, not just signing.
Yeah, we're going to try to get Kara a little bit freed up from the how do I fill out this contract and get her more on the legal problems of this contract didn't go to settlement or we have breaches or we have other legal issues that we need to deal with. And Kara's been helping us daily on trying to get our licenses out of DLLR 10 months later. Yeah, still trying to get those licenses out. So Kim is going to be a welcome addition to our team, and we're super excited to have her. And this is Kim.
Thank you. Thank you.
So her contact information, I did send out in an email to all the Maryland
That
licensees.
that email will be updated to a Sampson
Yeah,
email.
it's going to be a Sampson email as well. That went out, so use the Sampson email. And then Holly's on vacation right now, but as soon as she comes back, the broker signer page will be updated on the Nest as well for everyone that needs her contact information.
Kim, did you prepare an amazing speech?
Yes.
I do not do well in front of people. I do well
That's where
behind
you
the
just
scenes.
That's
go,
okay.
"Hello."
You're just
Yeah.
up here to wave
You're
and
just waving, so
smile
they know who you
pretty.
are. Yes, absolutely.
Thankfully, we're really good at faking that we're good on stage, so it's great.
Yeah, I'm very excited for my new role and super excited about Frederick opening an office. It's going to be spectacular. And Kara and I have worked together I've worked under Kara for 9 years, and super happy to help her and work beside her. She's amazing. So
Fantastic. Well, thank you so very,
All
very
right.
much.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks,
So
Kim.
appreciate the help.
Good.
And I know all the agents will love having you on board.
I think Kara's most excited, probably.
Kara's, I know, Kara can barely, she's tickled pink. She can barely contain herself.
So excited she wants to do a TikTok dance.
Yeah, she does. Back to the
Go-
TikTok. Yeah, back to the TikTok. Yeah, so we're super excited to have all this new infrastructure coming into play, and we've got a lot more coming down the pipe, so just keep watching.
How hard is it not to turn around and look at yourself?
It's very,
And be like, how do I look?
I'm like, oh, yes.
So another exciting thing we have coming up, we've got the Sampson Festival. Want to keep making sure people know about the save the date, October 23rd. It's gonna be the party of the year. It's gonna be
That's
awesome.
That's the menu I've looked at.
That's the menu you've looked at. We have
We've
like
got
10
fried
food,
Oreos and donuts and like funnel cakes.
10 food trucks just for meals.
It's all about food.
It's all about the food. So free food, free drinks. It's gonna be a great party.
Did y'all know
all
wine came on
day.
a truck? Wine comes on a truck. Yes, they do.
Yeah, we're trying not to run out of vodka like we did last
Oh,
year.
we ran out of booze. last
Apparently, Sampson Properties Realtors and their families like
year. Y'all
margaritas.
are some drinkers. I mean, we
Yeah.
had cases and cases.
We had
and
to send
cases.
Bobby to the store to go buy more vodka in the middle of the thing.
Yeah, it was crazy.
We took whatever number it was, we doubled it, and still wasn't enough. So you
Yeah.
guys like margaritas, apparently. I
She goes
Tri-
by triple.
She said triplet. I think it was Donna Lee's fault. I saw you back there, Don.
Yeah. Donna Lee can pop a bottle.
she, she's like, I'm so embarrassed.
We love you, Donna.
So, want to make sure you save the date. There'll be more information on that. I know some of you are coming from further away. We've kicked around possibly some bus ideas, but we have some discount rates at some local hotels as well. If you say you want to say, look, let's go make it a night. We'll drive in, be safe, Uber down the road for a
Have little
mile or get a ride.
staycation for the night.
Stay for the night, and then make that trip back Sunday. Come see some of your friends in Northern Virginia around town if you want to. So we'll have more to plan on that. But the earlier we get out the save the date and some of that information, the better for everybody. But in the next 3 months, you'll see lots and lots more information.
Yeah, and we keep talking about it because at the end of the day, over 2,000 of you have joined us since the last festival that we did. So half of you have never even seen the festival, which is
Yes.
huge. It's so much fun.
Carl's gonna get on the dunk tank. I heard. Carl,
Oh,
you
you're
up
the
there?
dunk tank friend? Donnie's in the dunk tank.
He just sat in the back smiling. Nah.
He goes, nah.
No, I am gonna get up. My brother was like, for like an hour. I was like, no, I'm not gonna. My dad was like, what do you say? He's like, you can do like an hour. I was like, an hour? No, I can do like 3 dunks. I'm gonna sit up there for an hour.
An hour.
That's
Yeah,
a long time.
We may be raising money for Samson Cares just to see who wants to pay the most to have Donnie dunked.
Yeah, I think Sarah had that idea, so we'll see. We'll see if that comes to fruition or
Here
not.
is my credit card.
I should have. We didn't get any pictures from last Friday up here, but we were at Silver Spring. We'll have to get this in
Yes.
for next meeting. But we had a great time at Generosity Feeds. They didn't let me touch the food because of my cold.
Yes, we made him
but
stay
we-
out.
They made me
away
stay
from
out
the
away
food.
and just cheer for everybody. But thank you for all that came out. We packed what,
3,000 meals. 3,000 meals. A lot of good fun. A lot of good energy and music. We had a great time. So thank you so much. That will be our last, probably small event that we do. Since the world is opening back up and vaccinations are happening and everybody's getting a little bit more comfortable, we are probably going to go back to a full-on event in the fall at some point. So we'll probably go back. We may not do 20,000 like we did last time, but we'll probably go back somewhere between 10 and 15,000. It just logistically makes it a lot easier for us, but that is going to be coming in the fall, so watch out for that sign up.
And
And that one will be open to families as well,
Right.
versus in the offices we can only do the agent and not the kids. It is a lot of fun when the kids are participating and dancing and singing, and it's a great family and,
It-
agent to client environment as well.
it's an awesome lesson too. I mean,
Yeah.
the communities around us have given us so much. So giving back to those communities is certainly worth it. And my kids and lots of, and Sarah can say this for her kids too, like getting to come to these events is great for them to be able to give back on some small way. For them to roll up their sleeves and pack meals for 2 hours is awesome. So they have a lot of fun doing it, and they feel great, and you're starting to teach them some life lessons. And there's a lot of other ways we should all be trying to give back, but if we can do a little bit at Samson, that's great. In the meantime, on our homepage, on the Nest, there's the Samson Cares button. If you want to donate any pieces of your commission to Samson Cares, we use all that money to help fund events like this. So if you can't make it physically or whatever the case may be, there's people that give $5 out of each commission. There's somebody that gives $500 out of each commission. And all that money goes towards these meals. So, we want to do 10, 15, 20,000 meals here and there. Those cost $10, $15, $20,000. So that's the idea. Is it's $1 meal when we do the bigger stuff.
Yes.
It's more like
it's a $1.50 when we do the
$1.50
smaller
meal. We do the
ones.
smaller ones based on the overage. But it's also it's great. It's worth it. We love it. But we want to keep doing more of these. As soon as we got ramped up and going, we were excited. We did our first one, 20,000. Then all of a sudden, COVID hit. We weren't allowed to. We actually had our next one scheduled like the next month for after COVID hit. So unfortunately, we haven't been able to do these big ones again. But we're excited to get back out there.
And we do already have the money allocated from the contributions that have come in for this next event that we're planning. We've paid for the last two smaller ones. We do have the allocation ready for the next one, but we are already starting to work on the one following. So any money that's given now will go to the next event following this one. So again, we would love you to participate, whether it be contributions or coming. There's links on Samson Cares that you can put on your Facebook page for your clients and friends to drop 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks on there. Every single dollar counts when it comes to these meals, because you may think I can only give $5. Well, that's great, because that's 5 meals.
There you go.
Yeah.
$5. That's 5 meals. That's meals for a family that might struggle to eat, and all of them go into the backpacks of kids in different schools.
So the local ones too, the first one that we did a few months ago all went to the local elementary school in Centerville, and then this last one that we did in Silver Spring they split between a local elementary school here and then one in DC. So those were dropped and distributed directly into the backpacks of those kids straight from our event.
Is that line on the disbursement form? I think at one point we added it, but it might not be. Or if you go to Samson Cares, there's a separate form for the people to fill out.
It is a separate form. Once you fill out the separate form, you can choose on there whether you want a reoccurring out of every commission or you want a one-time. Once that form's on file, they're going to make a note in accounting and do it outside of the disbursement form until you tell them to stop.
If we add it on there,
Yeah.
we get more. We
It might
probably
trigger people,
We probably
yeah.
should. If we put it on there.
Yeah, that's
no,
a great
I
idea.
agree. And the idea from Denise was to say, so somebody watch.
I'm going to forget that
If
before
we
you
add
just
that to the
email me
commission disbursement
Yeah.
form, people might say, "Oh, I'll give $5, or I'll give $10, or I'll
Yeah.
give $50," out of the commissions as it's coming in on each one. So we might need to add that in there so that.
And that'll
it's
be a lot
to do.
easier for us now that we're automating all the back-end systems. So all of that can be automated versus everything that we put on the disbursement forms in the past has been a manual entry. But now we can automate some stuff. We can just hit some buttons and it'll work a lot faster. So that'd be great. Absolutely. I
Sure.
think that's a fantastic idea.
Absolutely. Well, good stuff there,
Yeah.
and hopefully Samson Cares will continue
But
to
thank you to
be more a
everyone.
part of what Samson does in the future, and all of you all do to give back. We want to give us some market updates. So I'm going to do the GCAR because it's the biggest association around here. Then I've got a couple of announcements about the other markets, and we're going to talk about how Samson is growing in PG specifically in a second. So the GCAR. So these were for the month of June. So for the month of June, we had 3,629 new listings in GCAR, which was up 9.5% from May to June, up 9.5%. Now, we look year-over-year numbers, it's almost going to be not worth it because last June we were still kind of in the middle of the fire. So up 29% from last June is great, but that's not surprising. So the year-over-year I'm not really going to spend a ton of time looking at here because I'm not sure they're totally relevant. But up 9.4% from May is great. And you can also see the 5-year June average is 3,093, whereas this is 3,629. I do believe that's somewhat relevant, even with a little bit lower number last year. The 5-year average went up. So what does this tell me? This tells me this is a lot of things you guys probably see out there right now. And this is where I'd love to have feedback from people that are out in the field here. But I see a lot more inventory coming on the field, in the market.
On the market.
And not as much competition for those things, which is great. I think we were in my opinion, we were in an unhealthy state 6 to 8 weeks ago.
Over demand
when we've
issue.
got 25 offers for every listing and people are pulling appraisals, pulling inspections, giving up their first child just to be considered, that's not healthy. So
Nor is it sustainable.
nor is it sustainable. But now we're in a much more balanced market where it feels like, okay, I make an offer maybe that's a really great property with a great price point.
May I please have a home inspection?
There's 3 or 4 or 5 offers on it, And okay, well, that's more reasonable. Or there's no other offers on it. So what I'm hearing from people talking is if things are priced appropriately and look good, then you're going to get the interest and you're going to get stuff sold. But what's not acceptable.
And maybe not in 20 seconds after putting it on the market, but it may be 3 days, 5 days, 7 days
Right.
versus 19 sight unseens.
But the key is that what's not as acceptable and flying as much, and now you guys tell me what you see differently, is, God bless you, 2 or 3 months ago, it didn't matter. You could just put something on the computer, put something coming soon, you were going to get multiple offers. You didn't it didn't care about, okay, I didn't do the upgrades that I needed to. I didn't price it where I needed to. The offers were going to fly in because there wasn't enough to buy and there were too many people to buy them.
I put one on the market. It was completely under construction. I had a front picture and a rear picture. No inside pictures whatsoever because it was completely being gutted. And I had multiple sight unseen offers for $50,000 over asking price. The market was crazy.
So we're starting to see a little bit of a more return to a
Yes.
balance here. On the new pendings, we've seen 2,671 under contract. In May, it was 2,812, so down 5%, but fairly steady there. Closed sales, 2,831. More closings, up 14% from May. That's fairly normal because you had a lot more April and May activity that closes in June. The next list there, Mr. Harris, please. I can flip over my sheet, but I want them to see as well. So median sales price is fairly flat from May to June, but what I like to look at is average sales price, which I'll talk about in a second. Active listings, so 2,944. So in May, it was 2,674. So that shows you that we're up 300 active listings from May to June. So that shows you that there is more active stuff sitting out there than there was just a month ago. And it's actually about still at a low for a 5-year. The 5-year average was 3,600, and the max was 4,265. So if the average is 3,608, and we're at 2,944, there's only been one other year that it's been lower at this point in the market. So it is still tight. It's not,
It's not flush.
it's
by any
not
stretch,
flush,
yeah.
but it's much more balanced than it was. And we still got amazing days on market, lowest it's been in 5 years. 17 days on market, down from 19 in May, which is
And keep in mind that the average days on market could include the ones that's priced incorrectly that have been sitting on for 40 days, 50 days, 60 days. Also with the ones that went off before it ever hit the market and it came up at 0. So there is that balance between all of those different properties.
So this is the part that's crazy, and this will probably look different in July and August based on what June contracts if June contracts, you start to see the July and August numbers relevant to that. But this is, remember, mostly the contracts that were written April, May, closed in June. But we were at 102.6% average sold price to original list price. So if it originally listed at
That's insane.
400,000, it was going at an average of 411,000, 2.5% higher than that. So it's crazy. It's crazy to have that as the average because, again, to Sarah's point, something goes on at 600 and ends up selling for 550. That throws off the curve big time, right? And we're still at an average of 2.5% over list price. That's nuts numbers, and it's the highest it's been in 5 years. So I'm going to summarize a couple. If you go to the summary slides for me, Ethan. So this is just a lot of the other markets that maybe you're working in that aren't GCAR, but I pulled the biggest one to kind of dissect a little bit more. But new listings. Now I'm just going to look at the numbers on the left side, which is the numbers from May, because I don't care June over June as much based on the pandemic last year. But you can see we're up over 9% in new listings in GCAR, 6.5 PG car, 5.5, 5, 2, 5. The only one that's down a little bit is Howard, but that number's a little bit lower, so that could be off just 10 or 20 listings, makes it look like it's down. DC up 11.2%. That's a big one as well because that's a bigger market, obviously. So all of them, it's across the board, same thing we talked about with GCAR, up in number of listings. Pendings, they're all down across all the markets, somewhere from 4 to 8.5%, so a little bit less contracts written in June than from May. Closed sales are all up, but that's going to be, except for SMAR, and that's all going to come from the April and May contracts that were written in June, so it closes in June. Those closed sales always look a little higher. The last one I really is relevant to me is the average sales price. So, again, we talk about, well, maybe I don't want to get in the market. It's too competitive. Well, when you look at what the average sales price is up year over year, you say, well, maybe I can't afford to wait. You say, oh, I can't afford to buy in these prices. Well, you might not be able to afford to
Especially with interest rates being so uber low.
So
right?
one more slide there for me, Ethan, to the sales price. you can see that the average sales price up from last June to this June. So this isn't really COVID related because last June, it's just what the prices were closing at from April and May contracts. But we're up 15% basically, and all of them are more, except Howard was almost 12%. That's ridiculous appreciation. When you're talking about 15% year over year,
Well, look at DC. It's up almost 17.
DC 17%. I
Crazy.
mean, that's crazy appreciation. Partner with low interest rates. If the house were to go up even 8 or 10% from year over year, and the interest rate were to go from 2.75 to 3.25, it's going to feel like a ton more money to buy this house next year than it does right now.
I mean, you're literally adding a car payment onto your house payment at
Right.
that point.
So the buying power is definitely still at its highest based on those low interest rates that are still doing great. And I think that my advice would be as a buyer, look, it's a lot more balanced. Maybe we didn't get what we wanted in March, April, May 'cause it was crazy. June, July, August, September, there's going to be some opportunities here at the end of summer and fall that you can't get into that house. You can't get into it reasonably. You can't get your home inspection and your appraisal. If you're a lower money down buyer, you can get in. We heard that from our lenders last week that the FHA buyers, the VA buyers, the 5 and 10% buyers, they can win contracts now that they couldn't win 3 months ago because everybody only wanted the cash buyer, and that was it. So that's exciting stuff. The last slide is just days on market. That's not going to surprise anybody, but, I mean, we're 8 and 9 in
8.
Hartford and Howard. We're 22 in D.C., 16, 13, 17. They're all crazy numbers. They're lower than they were in May, and it's super competitive. Now, my guess would be these July numbers, when we see what happened this month, it's going to be higher because obviously we're much more balanced than we were
We've
back
got
in
more
May.
inventory. It's hotter. People don't want to go sweat. Like, they don't want to walk outside and sweat. and
Sarah
go
didn't
look
want
at
to walk
houses.
in from the car, she said. She wanted to have the sales meeting in the car.
You're silly. No,
She did say that.
I didn't say that. But, I mean, people don't want to go walk outside and sweat, right? It's hot, and they want to go on vacation, and the world's opening up, so they're taking their families on vacation where they normally haven't done that. So many people are gone or traveling right now. It's a good opportunity. June or July, August, and September are going to be great opportunities to get people in houses.
So I want to stop right here. What did you get that other slide in from Brooke? Okay, great. So we have one new slide in here that's really exciting. So this is, you guys can't see it, but I'm going to call the numbers out to you. This is just PG County market share. We're sitting here in the Bowie office and figured it was really relevant to Bowie and Waldorf and DC and a lot of these offices that work this region, National
Can
Harbor.
you see it?
So this is market share.
Hold on. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. I'm going to come back.
Can you zoom that at all? Probably not.
No. I'm going to come back to your, go ahead and make your statement. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm going to go back to where we came from.
So, yeah. So this is 2021. So far, market share units sold in PG County only. Long and Foster is 7.95%. They're one. The top one is others. That's all the small under
All
ones
aggregate
combined.
together.
7.95% Long and Foster. Sampson Properties is next at 7.33%. Number
Okay.
2 in market share of all of PG County.
And what you don't know, this number right here, 6 years ago, where we came from, 0.58%.
So this says 0.58%. What's crazy is that's 6 years ago. That's crazy. How about this? 3 years ago. 3 years ago was 1.86%, and we would have been way down the list. 2 years ago was 3.11. Last year, 5.96. Now 7.33%, and we're right on Long and Foster's heels. And I bet you if I broke that down just in the last couple months, we might have even beaten Long and Foster because I know we just passed them in Northern Virginia for the
Yep.
first time ever. That would be that we'd be number 1 company market share in all of PG County, and I think that that's a very real possibility for 2021 based on how close we are to Long and Foster
You
right
guys
there.
are awesome.
So you guys are rocking and rolling. Great job to all of
nice
you all.
job.
So I'll work with some of our staff to get better stuff like this out, but this is fantastic stuff to go out. Now, look, I don't like to give stats without giving full disclosure. Now, some of the stuff I give out in the sales meetings where I combine brands together shows Keller up there because there's 10 different Keller brands and they combine them. The way that this chart, this is straight from a website, I didn't manipulate it, is they do break out different Kellers because they're owned separately. So they only all owned together. It's Long and Foster, then Sampson, KW Capital Properties, Redfin, Coldwell Banker, Compass, Century 21, New Millennium. So you do see that some of those franchises are broken out just who owns them. But that's still just amazing stuff that we're second in all market share in any one
Well,
company.
and here's what I love to see. Long and Foster, right?
Oh, wow,
Big
11.8.
180-pound gorilla was 11.86. Now they're at 7.95. Look at the direction they're going. Look at the direction we're going. 0.58, 7.33. So you
It's
guys are
crazy.
rocking and rolling. You're taking over the market.
And that goes across the board.
Yes.
there's a lot
Some
of
of that. Some of that.
Well, I think that there's only a couple companies that are gaining agents and most companies that are losing them. I
The
think.
traditionals, because they're not moving off that 50-50 split and such, they're losing agents left and crazy.
Yeah, the 60-40s to 70-30s that realtors just don't want to do that anymore. It doesn't make sense in today's world. They know that the realtor, I think it became even more relevant to people in the last 16 months with the pandemic when they looked around, because I'm the one that talks to all these people all the time, right? And they're like, look, I didn't like paying the money before, but now when I look at it, it's like, I didn't even talk to these people the last 8 months, and I'm still giving them 30% of my money. This is crazy. Like, I haven't literally gone into a ABC Realty office. I mean, we were talking about Long and Foster, but I haven't been into one of these offices in the last 8 months. I haven't talked to any of their people, yet I'm still giving them 30% of my money. So I think it even wisened up people more, exacerbated the problem.
Well, yeah, the shift started itself about 5 years ago,
Yes.
and it has just continued to
Every
explode. based
every
on
year it's
conditions.
gone down and
Yeah.
down, and every year there's a couple brands in here that are going up. I won't highlight necessarily those, but there's 2 or 3 others that
But they're
you
not
could
your
guess
traditional brokerage firms.
they're not traditional
not
brokerage firms.
traditional
They're going.
models.
All
Yeah.
the traditional models, the franchise models, they're all going the other way. So really exciting stuff, and I wanted to show you guys that
Awesome.
graph that I was pulling up this morning when Karen Kim walked by, and I felt like I should talk to him, but I was almost there on the graph, so I wanted to get there. So sorry for not giving the proper hellos. But that's exciting stuff. Will you do the ICA?
I am, yes. So everybody should have seen an email at this point. Yeah, go ahead to the next slide. There you go. For
You don't
those
have
of
to zoom
you,
in, it's just representative.
It-
You don't have to read it.
representative,
Representation of.
representative of.
Look, kid.
I'm a kid. Yes. Yes. So what we did
Look,
was,
old
for any
lady.
of those of you who have joined us in the last couple of years, you have seen that our ICA just got tremendously cumbersome with lots of words. Love you, Mike Briggs. So what we did, for anybody that's talked to Mike Briggs, he has a lot of words and he wrote it. So what we did was we kind of split it.
They're all smart words. There's
They're
just a
all
lot
smart
of
words.
them.
There's just a lot of them. And when we changed policies and stuff, we didn't always go back and make the changes in the ICA to reflect those policies. So what we did, we went through and we made a 3-page ICA, independent contractor agreement, with all of the legalese documentation that we have to have by law to document, right? And then we did an agent procedures and policies manual so that all the agents know the policies. It's grouped by sections, and also the procedures, how to turn in listings, how to fill out paperwork, who to go to when you have questions, all of the different tools and resources, and then all the way through how we process commissions. So all of that has been updated. So we've got 2 living documents on the Nest, the independent contractor agreement and then the agent policies and procedures manual. This way we can change if we process a commission a different way, or we use a different system, or we're adding in a different tool for you guys, we can add that section into the independent contractor agreement, right, the old one. It's now the agent policies and procedures manual, without having to get 4,500 new signatures on documents every single time we make a material change.
So we would announce to you when we make
Yes.
changes, but they're
We'll put
always
them on
going
the
to
Nest.
sit on the company policy section on the Nest on the right side
Yes.
there. So it's easy for everybody to always see the most updated policies and procedures.
If we make any material changes whatsoever, you will get an email from me saying, hey, look, here's the material changes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Here's where you can find them. Boom. Let us know if you have any questions. So anytime we announce new services, anytime we make any changes, we're going to just change that procedures document versus having to have everybody re-sign the ICA, which is a pain for you guys to have to do that every single time.
A lot bigger paid for us.
And then it's a pain for accounting and licensing to track who of the 4,500 people has turned theirs in and who has not. So we want to make sure we get you paid quickly, no more barriers. So we went to a new document that's on the resources tab on the Nest, and emails have also gone out.
So I wanted to stop here and get any, I know Lauren's going to come in from Cardinal and speak when she gets done with her closing here. On the market, we kind of went through some market stats and what we're hearing on the market, but you guys are out there every day. You're selling, you're representing buyers, you're competing, all those types of things. What are you guys seeing as the temper? I mean, are we seeing a similar, got some microphone checkers up here?
So I'm typically in the, I just did a few in PG County, but I'm typically in the Anne Arundel County market, and we are not seeing that shift, unfortunately, yet.
Still
So
hot?
you're
Very
still
tight.
very, very
Okay.
tight. Okay.
If you want a home inspection, forget it.
Gotcha.
That's
Good to know. Is there a
yeah.
certain price range or just all over the county?
Unfortunate, even with it as is right to terminate,
Not
you're
getting
out.
it.
You're
Not
out.
getting it. Now is that just higher, just lower price ranges,
Or
or
all
all
over
across
the
the board?
board?
We have like 300 and up. I mean,
Okay.
to 700, I would say, and that, I mean, that's a big range, but
Right.
it's still, it's pretty, and those are for, I will say those are more for move-in ready, updated.
So the nice ones. So and that's one point. So,
So
if you're
if
going
you-
to the
yeah.
nice stuff that's ready to go, looks good, you're competing. Now maybe
What
your
about the
maybe your buyers
ones
aren't
that need
looking
a
at
little
them, but
love?
maybe the ones that need a little love.
The ones that need a little love, maybe they're in that
So
as
the
is.
problem is that the people, the buyers that are out there still that need some love, they're lucky to have the down payment and the cash to close, let alone
Let
having
alone do
extra
any
money once
extras.
they get in to give it some love. Now, I did get the email from First Heritage about the down payment assistances
Mm-hmm.
back in from from the Federal Home Loan Bank, which is great. Of course, if you can get them to qualify with their income and everything, which is not always easy. But it's still pretty tight in Anne Arundel, and it's really hard as an agent to be continually telling them that you're gonna have to waive the home inspection. I mean, I literally cannot wait until that's.
That no longer has to come out of your
It's
mouth.
hard
Yes.
to tell a first-time home buyer.
You can't have home inspection.
Or someone
Yeah.
that's very particular or perfectionist that needs things, 1, 2 always equals 3.
Right. So then I
Yeah.
always make sure that I wrote my own, that they understand that I did not advise them to waive the home inspection. I merely told them that if you really want this house,
Yeah, make sure,
unfortunately, because
especially
I
right
don't want
now,
anybody coming back.
Make
on
sure
me.
you get that adverse
There's a
consequences
potential adverse consequences
form that's in
that we have.
Skyslope that's also in
got
the
it.
Cardinal Nest. Make sure you get that done if you're waiving everything, because if not, they're going to come back to you and say, well, you told me to.
It just
Right.
it's in there that they can initial that you've informed them of the
Right.
risk that they're
Of
taking.
the risks, yes.
So what I have done successfully is when I have had a VA buyer is I've had them on a separate addendum attest to that they will pay for termite inspection, any potential termite treatment resulting from the inspection.
Separate item over here.
And
The
that
lender
does
doesn't
not
see.
go to the lender. And that they'll pay for VA required lender repairs up to however much
that's a
money, so
great
that you
way.
mask it as not being a VA.
Right. So that's a great way to do that. Just know, and
works.
any smart listing agent should know, that is not worth the paper it's printed on, because federal law is going to trump those addendums. So it's great to be able to say you're going to do that, and that's a great way from a buyer's agent to say that, and hopefully the buyer will keep their word if something does happen. But we've seen a lot of instances recently where the buyer has done that on an FHA or VA and said, hey, look, we're going to pay the appraisal gap. Don't worry about it. But then as soon as it comes in, we don't want to pay that anymore.
Oh, I'm not even
So-
addressing that part yet. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
there's-
just
there's-
the VA
it's not
required
worth- yeah.
repairs. They say we will pay for that up to, let's say, 500. Whatever it is, on a separate addendum. So you're masking that appraisal gap is no matter what your financing is.
Right.
So I'm trying to mask it so it's not a VA
not straight
buyer,
VA, right.
and you look like conventional if you just take those few elements out. The whole appraisal thing,
That's a whole different issue.
that's a
That's an
whole
animal.
nother.
Yeah.
If the listing agent pushes you to put it in the offer stage, I will. But if they don't, and they're not smart enough to say, "Hey, what are you going to do if it doesn't appraise?" then I'm
Right.
not gonna address it.
Right.
Right.
So that was Anne Arundel County that you're seeing
Yeah,
that.
it's
I just
still
want to
really
make sure you
tight.
didn't miss that before, but very tight in Anne Arundel County.
Very.
Good. So thanks for the feedback there, Denise.
Kara, what you
have a
got?
microphone. She has
Does
one
this
already.
is this one on?
Yes.
Okay. I actually was going to say a little bit of the opposite. So it must be just Anne Arundel, because I
Yes.
have been getting a lot of questions about about inspections and negotiations and interpreting things and how to write things. So they must be working their way back into contracts, in other areas, or maybe those houses that need a
No,
little
no,
bit more
and I
work.
would agree with that. I'm not saying Denise wrong. That's Anne Arundel.
Yeah.
It might be. There are certain segments that
segments,
are
yeah.
because I would say I
Markets
see
are
what you're doing.
different.
Now I'm gonna say one downside. This is selfish but true. My least favorite part of being a realtor was the home inspection addendum and negotiations. So that's the only good part about the market the way it was. At least we didn't have to do that.
Correct.
But now you get to start negotiating this. So you're getting a lot of questions on inspections.
Yes.
Well, and I would also point out here too, we've got a lot of contract classes that we're doing each and every week, and then we've got one on the Nest that just went up that Kara and Hal did a few weeks ago. That's on the
Yes.
Nest now. It's also under the announcements tab. If you guys have not done some of these things, if you haven't negotiated appraisals or you haven't negotiated home inspections, first and foremost, read your contract. And then after you read the contract, when you have questions, go to a contract class. Learn how to do this right, especially if you haven't had experience with it in the last year or so. Brush up. It's time to brush up.
Can I
Yes.
piggyback on the
You can
contract
piggyback
class.
whatever you like. Kara.
Yes.
Actually, while we have a captive Maryland and DC audience, Noble and I are switching these next 2 weeks because he might be out of town.
he's
and-
out of
He's out of
town.
town right
so
now. Yeah.
I'm going to be tuning in this Friday, and he's tuning in next Friday. However, I do want to let everybody know, which is a little different because usually the changes to the Maryland Realtor contracts come out in October, which there will be another one. But there was one that came out. There's a revised version as of July 1st,
For- for Mr.?
2021. For what?
For
For
Mr.?
Mr. Right.
For
For
Mr.?
Mr. Hmm.
I still have such a hard time.
Yeah, for Mer.
For
Mer.
You're all goofballs.
Yes, so it was, paragraph 55, because there was a change in legislation that mandated that we include language regarding the homestead tax credit in all residential contracts of sale. So that was inserted into the Maryland residential contract of sale, which is available through SkySlope.
And I'm going to say, if you don't know what she's talking about, you need to take a class.
Yes. Oh, and yes. So tune in Friday because I'll be talking about that. I'll offer a nugget that can.
Nuggets.
I am a tease. It's a teaser. So
a Chick-fil-A nugget or just a regular
well,
nugget?
both, because I think that probably draws in another one. So yeah. So
I just heard Chick-fil-A
no,
on Kara.
we no, for marketing purposes. So a good. We always try to tie in
How you
some
can
good
market.
marketing
How you can
things
market,
and how
New-
to
new
explain things
advantages
to your
and
clients.
rules.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And GCAR had some changes too in their
Mhm.
mid-year forms, which was what they were waiting on to feed to SkySlope.
Yeah.
So everything's been fed. Just as a quick nugget right now, so we can move past it.
Can we stop talking about Chick-fil-A nuggets?
No, just a nugget. Are you hungry? Did you have some breakfast this morning?
Not enough.
Not enough. Well, evidently
I'm
we're
gonna
all
get one on
going
the way to the
Chick-fil-A
lunch and
on the
learn,
way
maybe.
home. GCAR has dropped the form feeds to SkySlope. They are over half, almost 2/3 done with the mapping of those forms. Everybody at GCAR is at Realtor Fest, and nobody has sent over the Nerds drop yet. So we're waiting on the Nerds drop to feed the forms, but SkySlope is ready to drop just as soon as they send the Nerds ID. I'm hoping that is going to be done this week. I have got 2 or 3 agents and Kara rattling the cages over there as, and if you too want to rattle a cage, feel free. Your
There you
GCAR
go.
connections.
Are there other thoughts on what you're seeing, Kara, or others
That was probably
you're
the
seeing,
biggest
which
one.
means a
Yeah.
more balanced market to you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Anybody else
In
seeing
most
more?
Which is
areas.
good. It's healthier, I
In
think.
most
I
How's
don't
everybody's
want-
traffic at open houses? And are they seeing? Or go ahead. I didn't mean to
I
cut
was
you off
just
there.
saying
It's much
better.
healthier.
I like
It's
it.
healthier. To
have the balance.
I want the inspections back.
Absolutely. I want there to be a much more balanced market too. I mean,
Well, it just protects everyone and makes your lives easier down the road. The liability is not there anymore.
well, as much as it's great to be a listing agent and just be like, well, what I put on, I'm going to get to pick between 10. It doesn't match. That benefit doesn't match the other side where being a buyer's agent is.
It's
so
a win-lose. You're in a win-lose versus
It's
a
so
win-win.
frustrating. And look, I'm not out there doing it every day, but I've been in those spots before in these markets, and there's nothing worse than when do they start blaming? They start blaming the realtor. It's not your fault. You didn't get any worse at doing your job. There's a lot of people, and some people are willing to pull it all back and have all the cash in the world. There's nothing you can do to compete with that at times. And eventually, once you lose 3 or 4, it's like, well, it's your fault. You're the bad realtor. I'm going to get somebody else.
Well, and it goes beyond that. It goes back to the personalities of the people. I mean, you could deal with the people that are most willing to pull the covers back, and if they've got a very perfectionist personality or a very analytical personality, they're going to start nitpicking every single thing that happens because they're not comfortable. And we're not necessarily helping that because we're trying to react to the market that we're in and help them react to the market that we're in. But it's in many cases counter to their own personality and how they make decisions and gather data. So all of that plays a role.
Sometimes they have to learn the hard way at our time expense, losing
Sure.
3 offers when.
Yeah, we
you
used
know,
to
and
say
you're like,
people got to
"I
lose
tried
2 or
to
3
tell
before
you."
they get serious.
Yeah, and in my situations, that's what it's come down to, and they've had to learn the hard way, and I know it stinks, but
And then you got to teach them. You sit down the first time. You're like, look, I'm gonna have a talk with you, okay?
Right.
I've seen this movie. I know how it ends. Do you want to know how it ends? Do you want to get there, or do you gotta?
Or do you want
this?
to play your role?
Do
in
we
the
gotta
movie?
do
Yeah.
this 2 or 3 times and then you
And
figure it out?
sometimes
and
by
they
you
yourself?
still
listen
have to
to their
do that and
parents,
then
and
do
their
that.
parents get involved.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's
Oh,
a kiss of
That's
death.
the best.
So,
My mama told me.
I know. I'm
That,
like,
that always works every single time. Once in a while, you get the parents like, do whatever the realtor says. He's smart.
Once in a while.
Not very often. Any other thoughts on the market? Because
So you had asked about open houses. Did we have any answers on anybody having open house traffic? Anybody seeing it?
Lots of traffic.
Lots of traffic for Denise. Anybody else? Carl's
Even if it's raining.
Carl's nodding his head.
Nobody
ba-
cares.
Nobody cares.
Carl's nodding his head yes back there. Mr. Harris is trying to
Oh,
get
he's
mic'd
trying
up
to get
here.
mic work.
Yeah, there's a
Hey.
comment from online. No name, but when I told my seller that buyers could potentially sue for non-disclosure of items that they had forgotten about if they did not have the opportunity to have an inspection, my seller refused to take any contract that did not have an inspection. So we ratified both a primary and a backup, both of which had inspections only with right to terminate.
Very interesting angle.
Interesting
Interesting angle. I
there.
would be cautious about giving legal advice of who can sue what. But I think framing it in the
No name.
words,
You
yes.
might be bossing around your seller a little too much there.
Yeah, Mr. and Mrs. No Name. But what I would say is hey, look, there's liability. If they find something and they get in and maybe you didn't know about it, but maybe you should have known about it, there could be some liability to you. So I recommend you potentially getting a home inspection. But I would be careful about you may get sued or not get sued. I would just say there could be some liability. Yeah,
Right.
just be careful about
You
that
know.
line.
Inspector's not going to find everything.
Yeah.
They're not going to find anything,
And
but at
their
least they had their due
disclosures, yeah.
diligence. They had their chances.
They
I guess
had
is
their
that
opportunity.
is that person's point. And I don't fully disagree with that person's
Yeah,
point to
I
their
like the
seller,
point.
but I wouldn't necessarily say that they could sue you and start to
And their verbiage
take legal
may
stances.
very well have been different with their seller, and they were being brevity
Right.
on the text.
But I
aren't
mean,
most
if-
sellers just choosing to disclaim than disclose anyway. So therefore, if they chose to disclaim and say there's no latent defects that they know of, how can any of that
Well,
even
because
be?
I
it
think
goes
the
back
point
to
would be that they find a latent defect that you
that you should
have known of. That,
Right,
you know,
that maybe
now
you
I'm not saying I would go that
Should.
route, but I think that's that person's
Okay.
argument anyway. You know, if there's a
And
bunch of
even if
mold
it's-
in your master closet or a second bedroom closet, and you pull back the clothes and you see that it's there, well, they didn't see it in showing. Well, they're saying, well, you should have seen this. Well, I
I never moved my
proved that I
clothes.
legitimately did or didn't know about it. I don't know. You
And
know,
the
that's
issue
just-
is
That's hard
not
to
so
prove at
much
that
as whether or
point,
not
yeah.
there's a suit, but how much time, effort, energy, and pain in the buttedness
And
would it be to just
and
go
if they
through
did
that?
an inspection, they would have seen it.
And agents have that responsibility of the known, should have known
Known,
items.
Right.
should have known,
Now,
yes.
they don't expect us agents to go by and
No,
pull back
you are
clothes.
not the professional home
No.
inspector, no.
But if there's
No.
things that we should have known or came up in discussion, we do have that obligation now. So
Yeah, I laughed. I had a listing appointment last week, and the seller looked at me and said, if I tell you something, do you have to disclose it? I said, yes, I do. Please fix it. And he was like, and I will fix it. Can we put a home warranty on the home? I said, yes, we can. And please fix it.
La 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 la.
Yeah, right.
So,
So then I just walked into another room. I said, oh, look at this pink wall. Yes.
so one thing that came out of last week's sales meeting, which was a good conversation, was a cool term was stubborn sellers. You know, when I asked what are you guys seeing out there in the marketplace, and one person's remark was, I'm seeing more stubborn sellers. I think sellers now need to be educated by us. Now, maybe not in Anne Arundel
Yes.
right there in those really nice properties, but they need to be educated that it's not the market that they maybe first decided in March or April, oh, I'm going to sell my house. Well, now all of a sudden they got ready to sell it, and it was July 20th. It's not the same market it was 60 days ago. You know, it's not. You can't, well, my neighbor down the street got 12 offers, and he got bid 30 grand over list price. That's fantastic. That was 8 weeks ago.
Yes.
That's unfortunately not today's market. So I'm not saying you don't do your best, but manage expectations, showing them stats that show declines, showing them all of a sudden we're getting more listings on the market, showing them the last few that have sat on the market for a week or only went for 10 grand over list or instead of 30 grand over list. Starting to show them some of these things, you have to educate them, because if they go off with the wrong expectations, it's going to be a struggle.
A disastrous
you know?
transaction for you.
And
Well,
be
and-
careful not to overpromise. If you say, well, let's go off for $399 because we're going to get 12 offers and we'll get bid up to $425.
Well, what if you don't?
Well, now anything short of that is going to be bad news. You know, so you got to set those expectations and manage them from what you're talking to your seller about.
Well, and I want to bring up a point that you brought up a couple of weeks ago that I thought was really, really
Ooh,
good.
I said something good.
Donnie brought up a very good point, which was managing expectations and the posturing you as the listing agent do at open houses or with other
Oh,
phone
yeah.
conversations that you're having, because a lot of buyers right now don't want to compete. I have a set of buyers that will call me and say, I want you to ask how many contracts are on it before we even go visit. I'm not competing. And be careful when you're at the open house or when you're talking to agents. Be careful about the, oh, yeah, well, I've got 19 coming in, or, you know, don't give me anything that doesn't have a home inspection, or don't give me, because they may not give you anything. And that may be the best offer that you would have gotten had you not postured and oversold So be careful with your own attitudes when it comes
So-
to how you're dealing with other agents.
And this person was talking to me had a real story where they thought they were going to get 5 offers, but because they kept telling people, "Oh, they're going to get 5 offers," all of a sudden they had 1. You know, they didn't get any in, but they're like, "Oh, I expect 5, I expect 5, I expect 5." Well, all of a sudden people didn't want to compete with that. So that's just kind of the real life example of it. So you got to be careful what you're posturing along the way. Just like Sarah said, is like, look, we don't have any offers. I'd love to have one. Now, if you get the 2 and the 3 and the 4 offers
then
in,
you can say, "Oh,
now
I
you
have
can
2."
compete them. But
Yeah.
But what you don't want to do is scare people off, and you want to do it because you want to get the best price for your seller. No home inspection, no appraisal, and I'm expecting big offers here. Well,
Let's get the offer.
you're going to
first.
scare 80% of people
Yeah.
away now
let's
because they
don't
don't
put
want
the
to do
cart
that.
before
They
the
don't want to play
horse.
that game here. So
Yeah.
I have noticed there are a lot of listing agents that are not putting in the remarks anymore.
The offer
Offers due by
deadline?
7
Yeah.
o'clock, you know, Sunday night.
because
and
it
all this,
creates
because
that
it
sense
does.
of fear
Right.
that
And so
Right.
they're moving away
I'm going to
from that.
have to compete. Now,
right.
if you get a bunch of offers,
Great.
well, then you call them all back and say, look, deadline's Monday at 5
Right.
p.m.
Yeah,
or whatever
highest
you
and
want to
best,
set it
or
at. But
put your escalations
you
on,
put that
whatever
in
you
the
wanna do. Yeah.
beginning, Sarah's buyer ain't going to come, and the people
Yeah.
that come in are going to get scared off.
Right.
In
Kara.
Maryland, it's actually in the Maryland listing agreement whether the seller authorizes or doesn't authorize the agent to disclose the
It's
That's
in there in
existence.
Virginia as well.
Okay,
That's in
yeah,
Virginia as
yeah.
well, yeah.
But we
So
know, we
you have to
normally-
have, even if you're going to do it, you've got
need
to
to
have
have it
written
checked.
written
Now, do you find that
authorization.
most people just say yes? Because I mean,
I
I've heard
put
1 or
yes.
2 people stand in the argument and make the argument
I
why
like
they
yes.
why they try to get no because they don't want to be able.
They don't want to be in that spot.
I would like that responsibility and that privilege as an agent to be able to play that the right way. Hopefully, so I
Yeah.
always ask for yes.
Mhm.
I would say that most of them I see are yes. No,
Yeah.
I don't sign as many agreements as you all do, but it is a question on ours as well. So if they do say no, or you decide, look, I don't want that responsibility, I want to be able to say I can't disclose that. My seller didn't let me. Then you could check no. Then you really can't disclose it. You know, I'm not sure that that's always the best path because if you do have 4 offers, I want to be able to tell Gabriel, look, I got 4 offers. You know, but if you
Make
if you
it
haven't
good,
given me the right,
friend. Make it good.
make it good. You know,
Yeah.
so don't scare people off. But if you do have 3, 4, 5, you want to be able to start leveraging so that the 6th and 7th or 8th are better.
Right.
We got to pass the mic
Oh.
because they can't see you on
It's
TV.
a tiny thing.
That's okay.
You know,
we like
even
there's
if
no
you
tiny things.
even if you get the authorization, it doesn't mean it's always beneficial to share that. If it is, by all means, do. Also, this may seem like a small item, but in trying to helping a buyer as a buyer agent, you know, it's a minor point, but you're always looking for a way to distinguish yourself if there is another 2 or 3 or more other buyers in the offing, and that is, you know, to include language that tells the seller you're going to get a home warranty effective immediately with seller coverage.
Yep.
I think you brought that up last week. I'm not sure where I heard that.
So yeah,
I love that, especially when
it's-
people aren't getting their inspections.
there's no reason that you shouldn't be doing that. Really, most warranty companies, especially I know 210 and Super, that are
They're free during the seller period.
they'll give you the free home warranty during that seller period. Now, with no expectation that you have to convert it, they do that because they think 90% of them are going to convert and you're going to pay for it. But you don't have to. But I would have that in a listing agent every time. It was on my checklist of things to do as a listing agent was to get that warranty in place. And I'll tell you the story why I had that is I had you sometimes in real estate, learn from other people's mistakes so you don't make the same ones. But I had a guy who is an awesome, awesome dude. And his son was about my age, actually got killed in action. And came back and he was like, look, we just want to move out of the area. And it was a whole sad story. So he moves out of the area and he sells the townhouse. And he just came back to check on it. And it was vacant. And I was like, oh, we don't need a home warranty. It was a townhouse, looked in fine shape. Well, the day before closing was on Monday. He came back just the weekend just to check on things before he left. And the whole basement had flooded because the water heater had broken. And if he had a warranty in place, now at the end of the day, he was fine financially. If he had a warranty in place, they would have paid a warranty fee. They would have given him a new water heater. He said it's $1,500, and Andy had to start cleaning up carpets and all this other kind of stuff. Now it was mitigated a couple $1,000s, but it made me say, why didn't I just have this in place forever, for no reason? He would have covered me for free during the listing period. So I would definitely do that if I'm a listing agent because you can learn from my mistakes so they're not your mistakes in the future as well.
And that makes perfect sense. I'm saying in the instance where you're the buyer agent and the listing does not offer a warranty already, make that part of your purchase offer to the listing agent and to the seller that you as the buyer or the buyer's agent will include seller coverage immediately if they accept your offer. It's not a big deal, but
I've never heard that before. That's
That's an
interesting.
interesting swing.
It's
yeah.
just
Can
interesting.
you do that?
Yes, you can. And
I mean, can you register it for them?
yes,
well,
you
the
may.
listing does
Yeah.
the listing agent have to
I
put
got
it
that
in?
Does the
straight.
listing
I got
agent
that
have
straight
to-
from 210.
Listing agent has to register, or the buyer's
Well,
agent
there is a document that seller accepts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah,
So
there's
the buyer's agent
there's a
could then
small nuance
but
to
they
it.
could still register it?
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's a small thing, but when you're looking for anything you can to distinguish
to leverage.
yourself a little bit from another
Sure.
buyer,
Sure.
That's awesome. That's
Good
an
thoughts.
awesome idea. Yeah.
Miss Lauren, how are you? Miss Lauren from Cardinal Title Group's here. She's going to come share some thoughts with us. You want to come share some thoughts with us?
Hello. How are you?
Great, thank you. How are you?
Doing just fine, thanks.
Good, good, good. Hi, everybody. I'm Lauren Logan. For those of you that don't know me, I am the attorney here in the Bowie office. I see some familiar faces, a lot of faces I don't know, but just wanted to come introduce myself. Bruce Stern, who is our managing attorney in Maryland, he's on vacation this week, but I am here representing Cardinal Title. I want to first say thank you, Sampson agents, for all of the great business that you have given us. We are booming here in Maryland. We are now in eight offices, have staffed with many processors and attorneys and closing agents so that we can conduct your settlements promptly, professionally, and make sure that your clients and you are happy. So we say thank you first. Just wanted to give you a quick, if you have new contracts, for Maryland contracts, you can send them to our general mailbox, MD Contracts, thank you, at cardinaltitle.com, Title Group, thank you, .com. And for DC contracts, same thing, DC Contracts at cardinaltitlegroup.com. If you, and in Virginia, it's just contracts at cardinaltitlegroup.com. So you can send them directly to them. One of the things that Bruce wanted me to stress is because we are so busy and because we're still, some of our offices are starting because of COVID to do buyer and seller deals together. However, some of us are still doing them separately. You can, wherever your client wants to close, you can schedule at any one of our offices, or we have mobile closers also, so we definitely try to make it as convenient as possible
Does
for your
anybody
clients.
want to go back to closing together? Yeah. Really?
I do. I differ from you here.
I like them apart. I
So-
want to be in and out. I don't want anything
You're
else.
so antisocial. I miss the whole. I
I am antisocial.
look. There is a chance when you all sit down together that there's some type of argument, but I miss the whole. Everybody sits down. Oh, what's Tommy like down the street? Oh, great. Oh, there's a neighbor cookout. I'll introduce you to them. And yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's so
but
many
I
deals
like,
we've
like
done with
5
the other
minutes of
agent. We don't
that,
know what
and
they
then
do.
I'm ready to go on and do something else.
So
It
from
takes an extra half hour, but you go to the. I could have done 6 deals with you. And I don't have no idea who you were because we don't even see each other anymore.
You know me.
Wow.
So I can tell you
We're going to
from
talk about that in a few minutes.
I can tell you from the settlement side, I appreciate the separate closings because only from the standpoint
There's less
that
fights.
Well, I would say it's more efficient too.
it's more efficient, but I do miss everybody at the table and being able to talk. But with the back-to-back settlements that we've been having because you guys have been giving us so many contracts, having 2 and 2.5 hour closings are just
It does keep it on track a
It
little bit
keeps
better.
it on
All
track.
right, 2.5 hours. People need to tighten it up.
Yeah. Well, but when they're
Let
talking,
me get y'all
where
pizza.
they're
Y'all go out in the hallway.
You got
When
some
you-
Sarah Mormon talkers in there or something. I don't know what's going on.
Thomas,
Yeah,
thank
right?
you. Thank you.
I mean, I like the pleasantries and all, but we're not getting past an hour of my closing. Let's
Yeah.
go. Let's go.
So, but I do miss it, but I do like the efficiency of doing them separately. We will, like I said, each office now that they're getting more comfortable with vaccinations and COVID, they'll let you know what their policy is. Here in Bowie, I'm still doing them separate, but we do them back to back. So if the agents still do want to meet in the in the hallway between closings, you guys are more than welcome to do that. You can encourage your clients, especially for single family homes. I haven't seen, when I was back in the title business years ago, we automatically got a survey with we automatically ordered them Now we give them the choice, and when I tell you, I think maybe I have 5 or 10 out of 50 that do that. Even though it's a small, it's a cost. 250 is relatively.
That's crazy.
Yeah, please don't ever encourage your clients not to get a survey.
If they choose not to, that's fine. But you want to be the person advising them to do it.
To
because
get
the
it.
last thing they want to do is 6 years from now, when they find out
That
that
their-
there's something that isn't in their property, the lines
fence,
way off.
their pools,
Well, Sarah,
their
you told me I
patio.
didn't need one.
Right.
Right.
Do not be the person that tells them they don't need a survey or they
Or
don't need title insurance.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, you're
Woo,
right.
that is on
95,
you.
98% of the time it doesn't matter, but that 5% it does, they're going to look at you and you're not going to have anything to
And
do
they're
about
gonna say,
it.
"What do you mean my pool is on their yard? What do you mean I got to pull up my $100,000 pool because it's sitting on their
That's a
property?"
very extreme example.
Right. But it could be something as
It's
small as
true.
a patio or a fence or shed.
More
or
likely
whatever.
it's fences and
Right,
patios.
But it's that one time, and the
That one-
title
it only takes
insurance.
one.
I can't impress upon you enough. Please do not advise them not to get title insurance to save money. I have had so many closings, especially now with title companies that have closed, and us trying to clear title because that title company is closed, and then the owner doesn't have title insurance. It's been a nightmare. Yeah, it's just been a nightmare. So please.
Just a quick question regarding a survey. Correct me if I'm wrong. I may be mistaken, but as it is, isn't the survey that's typically ordered like the bare minimum requirement for financing or whatever else? Because there's another survey you can get that's a lot more elaborate and more expensive for construction purposes. So just so we're clear, what are we talking about here?
So the house location survey literally is just a drawing. It's just and and that's $250. The boundary survey, which is the more expensive one, which they go out and mark everything.
Right, okay.
Either one is still an option. Is optional for your client. We don't automatically order it unless they request it. And for a lot of lenders, they don't require it. So that's something usually that the buyer's like, no, I don't need that. So
I just didn't want the discussion of this to cause inadvertently for someone to think that the survey that we're emphasizing is good not to set aside is a more elaborate, boundary survey.
No,
This is just
yeah.
bare minimum as it
Even at a
is.
bare minimum of just the lines,
No,
it's
that
going
you
to
should-
show you where the easements
course.
are. It's going to show you where everything
Yeah.
adjoining the property and
Yeah.
on the property
Yeah.
is.
The
Well,
boundary one you're only going to really need if you plan on doing some stuff
right.
and you want to
Something,
see
yeah.
where the boundaries are in relation to where I want to
Yeah.
put my trees up or put my fence up or
But
that
even
kind of
something
stuff.
simple like you want to put an in-ground sprinkler system in, or you want to put a deck on, they're going to require that plat already being done. And for you to be able to hand them that, it's already done. You've got it. You know at settlement that everything's good. Because if not, you're going to have one done later. So just go ahead and get it done as part of settlement. The other point I want to bring up about the title insurance thing that we just had, Denise said, make sure everybody knows it's just a one-time fee. It is a one-time fee at settlement. I just used mine because I went to refinance, and when they refinanced, there was an unreleased
Ooh.
on my title that should have been caught before. It wasn't.
Ooh.
And the bank that held like three owners back, that bank was gone. Right? So title insurance kicked in and covered it. So make sure
Especially with how many banks and title
that
companies
have gone out of business.
that went
and-
from 05 to 2012 didn't make it through all that stuff.
So
There's going to be a lot of
even
companies out there
investors-
that close these things and are not around to indemnify those
And
titles.
this wasn't
and-
my primary residence. This was an investment property that I own. So even as an investor, I buy title insurance, owner's title insurance on every single property I do. It's just a smart one-time insurance policy.
Yep, absolutely. Any other questions that anybody else
Well,
has?
one
Oh,
thing I was going to
oh.
bring up, and you guys think of any questions, let us know, is just a reminder that, look, we'd all like to request our favorite processor or our favorite attorney.
Yes.
And sometimes we can do those, but sometimes we're actually doing them now at Cardinal Moore by county. As much as you might be selling something out in Montgomery County, and you love Lauren might not be the best person to have that file because we want to make sure that people in the counties are working in those counties all the time and
And that's because
are
all y'all's
up to date on
counties are
all the
crazy.
different rules. That's because all the counties play by different rules. Anne Arundel's not the
And they're
same as
not
Howard,
nice
not
to
the
each
same as
other.
Hartford, not the same
No
as
one's nice.
wherever. So that's why we want you to request always when you send in that contract, if you have a certain process you want, let us know because we want you to get that continuity on the person in your office that you're going to see. But if they assign it somewhere else, it's because the property might be in a county that we've got other specialists, and you're going to have the best care if they're in the counties that those people work in all the time.
And the person that's processing it, you can still close at whatever office.
Right.
So if they assign it to the Bethesda office, you can still close here in Bowie. That is
Right.
completely up to you and the
It's just
convenience of the
It's
processor
just who's
specialist.
processing
it's
it,
the
'cause they're the
processor.
ones that know the
I
county
know,
rules more.
I know that's been fun to deal with. But yes, you can still request it. You can request whoever you would like to process it, but they look at the county and then they also look at our caseloads. They are definitely trying to spread the love among all of us. So if you do get
It's to get you the best service, not to make sure
Absolutely.
Yeah.
that.
You don't want to go to settlement and find out that, I'm making this up, Montgomery County has some kind of special rule that because you settled with another, you went with another processor in another part of the state, that they didn't know about, that something gets delayed at settlement because that
Right.
processor didn't have insight into that county
Or-
restrictions or
or-
something's done
or-
incorrectly.
Or if Sarah has 50 files and I have 20,
Right.
you're going to get
It would be
better
that way.
service. It would definitely be. Everybody would request Sarah. Nobody would request me. I'd be the lonely duck over here. But we'd rather have me have 21 and her have 49. You're going to get better service with me if I've got the 20 or 25 files I can focus on than adding one more to her stack. You know, so that's why they're trying to balance those out a little bit
Yes.
at times. But we still want to get you the right person or that person you know and love as much as possible.
yes.
Any other thoughts from Cardinal or questions?
And I also want to, we are still continuing to build the Maryland team. So if you know experienced processors or post closers, please, please, please let us know because we are definitely still trying to hire people too.
Absolutely. If you've come in out of the
build our
company and
team.
you have another processor or settlement attorney that you love, we would love to talk to them.
Bring them to
Bring
us.
them to us.
All
We
right.
would love them too.
We love to hire good people. Can we I think somebody's mic in here. Can you pass that back? Thank you, ma'am.
So the insurance, that's not automatic. That the title insurance that legally it's supposed to be covered.
You mean the owner? So
Yeah,
the
the
lender requires a policy. Yes, that is required. The owner's policy is completely optional. And what I've seen some agents do is when the numbers get tight, they're like, oh, no, you don't need that. That is detrimental to you because, like Donnie said, they can come back to you later on when there's a problem. It's a small cost compared to what they're getting ready to spend
Well,
on the house.
and look at the numbers here. I mean, like, for example, when I bought this house, this particular one for me, I put down like 30% because it was an investment property, and it has $350,000 worth of equity growth in the period of time that I've owned it, right? So
Good for
there
you.
is a lot. That was a good buy. There is a lot of money in that house, right? So if somebody now comes back later and claims ownership of that house,
No, I'm not in
yeah.
disagreement.
Well, and I'm just saying for everybody.
It's not required, but it's,
not
a good
required,
lesson.
but it's
though.
good because I could be potentially on the hook for losing a lot of equity versus picking up the phone and calling my title person and saying, "Hey, look, this is happening," and them saying, "Don't worry about it, we got it," and it's gone away, and I haven't even touched it since. So it's just that extra safety net.
Well, the other last thought I'd have on title insurance is this. It's funny that lenders require it, and you must buy the lenders.
Right.
But then the owners. So a
up to
lender,
you.
so a lender is
They don't care
requiring to
about you.
protect their investment in the property, but you shouldn't protect yours. You know, so that's the interesting argument. People are like, well, I don't need that. Well, the lenders who do this all the time feel like they should. So they're requiring that policy be bought. But no, it doesn't. So it's a good question.
And
Go over the difference between like the enhanced and the basic.
Sure. Yeah. So
That's
there's
what I was
two
gonna say.
different types of title insurance. Basic, which which covers everything as far as if there's an unreleased deed of trust or something in the past. The enhanced, which is usually maybe 2 to 3, I don't want to say a percentage, but it's usually maybe a couple $100 more. It covers everything in the past, and then it also covers things in the future. A lot of people, and it's once again, it's a choice if the buyer wants it. If someone emails me and asks me what the cost difference is, I always give that to them so that they can make an informed choice. We at Cardinal Title will automatically do the standard if they do choose to have it, and then they just let us know if they want the enhanced policy. Yeah, and a lot of title companies do the enhanced automatically. Bruce just made the decision, we'll go with standard first and then.
They don't know the difference. Like, the enhanced has like coverage with HOA violations and so forth. It has so much more. So if the property is in an HOA area,
It's worth it.
location, I think it should be pointed out to the buyer that you would benefit for another $220
To do it.
with the enhanced.
I think we're going to have our next Cardinal meeting. I think I'm going to talk to Bruce about that because you're right. We do have a comparison sheet that we will send out to buyers, but like you said, for the few $100s that it costs, it's worth them having the complete coverage. So
So Denise was making an argument that we all should get enhanced, which I like because that means Cardinal gets more money. Did you have another question? I'm sorry. Another thought?
Yeah, with the title, like the background for a buyer, if they want to know the history of the property and all that, is that something that the title can automatically do? For
well, we do a title search. So we order a title search the minute we get the contract, and that will give us, chain of title history and whatever liens or judgments or assessments are against the property. So unless there's a problem, we don't normally call the buyer up and say, hey, this is what we found on title, unless there's an issue. But if the buyer does want to know what's going on, they definitely can contact their processor, and we can just give them a quick update of what's happening.
Awesome. Good thoughts.
Thank
other
you so
questions?
much. Any
Cardinal?
other questions?
Karis.
I just wanted to note that in our Maryland Realtors contract, it
Who
does
just
state
carries around a contract with
I-
them?
the
Kara, pull it out.
broker.
When someone calls her,
does-
she's got to pull it out and read it because the agent hadn't read
Well,
it.
no, I know where I just wanted to reference the paragraph because I don't have those memorized. They keep changing. But in paragraph 38, it does note that the enhanced rates will be disclosed, will be the ones to be used unless
There you
that
go.
changes.
Oh, well,
There you
good.
go. That's
So
good
you
to
can
know.
go,
There you
you
go.
can go ahead and
And just
and,
do
You
out
can
and
go ahead
quote.
and change.
You can quote
Go
the
ahead and quote
enhanced
that
rates.
I
Hey,
appreciate
Bruce,
that.
we're going to tell you in your trip right now. You can telepathically.
We
I
know
don't,
you're watching.
I don't
Bruce.
think you're watching us across the world
No,
right
I
now,
don't think
but
so.
if you
All right,
were.
Lauren, you're in charge of that.
I will make that happen.
Kara.
Absolutely.
Any other
Absolutely.
thoughts for Miss Lauren and Miss Cardinal and Cardinal
Miss
Title Group?
Cardinal
Miss
Title.
Cardinal Title Group.
You are now Miss Cardinal
I
Title.
will
Miss
take
Cardinal
that.
Title.
I will take
She'll
that.
take
I
it.
will take that title.
Take it.
Just clarify what Kara said just now. I didn't quite catch the
So
nuance.
in the contract, it basically says that it's warning. It's basically giving you the disclosure there that the enhanced policy would be quoted. So Cardinal wouldn't be wrong by quoting an enhanced policy because in the contract it's saying
automatically
it's giving them the heads up that enhanced rate policies will be quoted to you, or you have the right.
You have the right
ability.
to downgrade, but
Because some people would
it's saying
say-
go big, and
You're
then
right.
you can downgrade if
It's
you want to.
optional, but it's disclosing that people could do that. So like Cardinal's doing that because Bruce's probably thought was, look, I'm
I'll
going
be
to
a little bit
quote
more
the
conservative.
standard.
Yeah.
I'm going to be more conservative. People want to upgrade. I don't want to piss people off by quoting the enhanced and then come back, why are you quoting the enhanced? What if I wanted the standard? Right? So what Kara's saying is it's already disclosed to people in the contract that we have the ability to quote the enhanced from the beginning if we want to be.
Right.
But one thing is to have the ability. What's the practice to quote the enhanced or not to quote the enhanced by default?
Well, I think that's our question. I think most title companies probably quote enhanced.
Most
I would
of them
say we're
do.
probably on the conservative end for only quoting the standard to start with and giving you both options.
Generally, Cardinal discloses.
The standard
Standard.
with an enhanced option, but we may change that as our
Yeah.
point.
We'll have that discussion.
But whenever you have a buyer, you want to consider both options.
I think,
just
and
had
I appreciate that that's in the
So
contract.
now Lauren goes,
Oh,
Kara
you-
said and Donnie said.
Yeah, no, we'll have a conversation when he comes back. I think that's great. Because I think we should do the enhanced, because you're right, the extra coverage, it's worth the couple extra $100. Right.
If no one explains it right. Well, and I love that future
Yeah.
aspect. That
yeah.
future aspect is huge to
Yeah.
people that are moving around.
What's the difference between something happening in the future and a future claim of something that happened in the past?
Well, it would be based on how you own the property. So when you own the property. So the standard is throughout the period of time that you own the property and anything that happened behind. And then the enhanced moves forward with anything that happens in the future when you don't own that property anymore. Correct? Go. No, but during the period of time.
That you have, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Thank Denise.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know all of
When you own the property.
right.
All right, so
Give-
I owned a title company.
Right.
But so the enhanced policy, okay, the basic policy gives you 4 coverages. That's it, okay? So like Sarah addressed, anything that happened from the time that you took ownership to the property back in time. Let's
Right.
say there's 3 ownerships before that it was an estate, and one of the heirs comes knocking on your door,
Right.
hey, I think I own it. Okay, title will take care of that. So moving forward with this, with the enhanced policy, you have so many other coverages, like condo association violations, HOA violations that you are not aware of. There is so much more to the enhanced policy that all the title insurance companies came out in about 2005, and of course, when one did it, they all got on board. And at the time, and it costs more money However, there's like 24 more coverages that
Doesn't also protect
that
equity?
that are protecting
Increased
your
equity
property.
as opposed to just the purchase price today.
Right, correct.
Yeah.
And yes, and it is widely in the industry widely known that it is a very small price to pay for all that. There's like 24 different additional coverages that they all call it their Eagle policy whatever it is. Okay. But so I would always, as an agent and obviously as the title company, offer the enhanced first, because if you don't and you only the standard of only 4 basic coverages and something does happen an HOA violation, then again you're looking at who's holding you didn't tell me. So it is very cheap, and it also like we're saying it will cover future potential violations, but the basic only covers from now back in time.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Well, any other
Thank you. You put
thoughts?
a lot better words to that.
Thank you, Lauren and Cardinal Title Group,
you,
for
guys.
coming out. Thank you for all your support. So a couple other exciting things coming on, which we'll make sure everybody's aware of in the next few days and weeks. We are coming out doing our tech training days out in the field now. Now, we've enhanced these a little bit. Now we're bringing our SkySlope, our KV Core. We always have the headshots and social media training and the postcard template training, and we have email copyright. We're bringing our whole staff of people out so you can experience all the trainings in these tech training days, making it more of a big ordeal. So we are in Bel Air. I think that's next Friday. We're in Bel Air, Maryland. Winchester, August 12th. Gaithersburg, August 26th. So we're trying to do one Virginia, one Maryland every month, so they bring out to you. These staff are always available to you to either come to Chantilly or come to Silver Spring. Right. They'll do Zooms. They'll do all those things. For headshots, look for the videos or the emails in Maryland. Anthony's moving around to every different office every Monday. So those headshots are always available to you all, if you follow Anthony's schedule. Now, as anything in Sampson, it doesn't matter what office you belong to. You can belong to Bowie, but we have something in Columbia or Bethesda or Clarksville. Go wherever it is that you need to go, because we're all one big family here.
Yeah, and make sure when you do sign up, because we will get the sign-up invitations for all of our different tech days, make sure if you do sign up, please, that you actually attend or cancel within 24 hours notice. If you sign up and don't show up, unfortunately, we are going to fine you, because we have had a lot of instances where they have set for 2 and 3 and 4 hours because multiple people didn't show up in a row and no one canceled. They will give you plenty of reminders. They will send plenty of confirmations to you. Just please do not take a time away from someone else
That's
that
the
could have
biggest
been
thing.
helped.
Is that
yeah, it's not
you're-
about really them.
It's somebody else can't sign up. If you see it full too, email that trainer and say, "Hey, I want to be notified if somebody canceled." The other thing is, I would tell you to go show up.
Yes.
If I signed up, if I wanted to get in Bel Air next week and the schedules were full or it was kind of full, I'd show up, because the likelihood is you're going to be able to see those people or pick up training from the other. A lot of them know more in all the other subjects too. So maybe you wanted postcard and template training, but Brooke was in an appointment then. Well, Parker or Brittany or somebody, they can certainly help you with the same stuff. They just didn't have a meeting that time. So the staff's there to help agents all day. So
or they've booked a 30-minute meeting and
Right.
it only actually was a 10-minute question.
Right.
So make sure that you bring something to do.
I mean, they would get mad if I tell people to go and show up, but show patience if they have other meetings that are scheduled. But at the same time, maybe 1 or 2 people don't show up, and you can slide in there. So
or somebody's running late.
I
Life
think
happens.
the great thing is to be able to that we've got this great team of trainers, and we can bring them out to you. We're going to rotate them all around to make sure that everybody's getting trained.
And I love that everybody's actually going back into the field right now. It makes life a little bit more normal, and many people learn better in a hands-on environment, not necessarily over Zoom or watching a video. So this is back to servicing you and teaching you the way that you want to learn. So please take advantage of all of those.
We've got obviously always KV Core training going on with Lori, which you can always sign up for and see all that on the Nest. World Series of Prospecting. So we do this class every Tuesday and Thursday. She's doing a big challenge tomorrow, Tammy is. So if you saw the emails come out, it's not too late to sign up today. But within your office, we're trying to get people to set up, buddy together, and we're getting awards for most listing appointments, most contacts made, most things. So I'd encourage you all to come in, work together, sign up, and feed off each other's energy. Sometimes picking up the phone and calling 40 people to prospect is tough to do. But if you know you got 5 buddies in the same office doing it, then you can compete against each other and for the whole group through company-wide. So we're going to give out a lot of awards. So if you want, you can go on the Nest and sign up for that. But Tammy's got that going from 9 to 3 tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah, and just
9 to
say,
3.
if you don't like where your business is right now, you need to do something about that. Business is not going to fall out of the sky and land in your lap. You need to pick up the phone. You need to call people. You need to be engaged. You need to not be a secret agent, right? So do something, whether it's take a class or make an extra phone call. But going to these classes is great because sometimes it gives you just a little bit of motivation to do one extra thing that's going to make a huge impact to your business.
Yes. That's our universal for I don't have anything else to say, so I just say
move
yes.
on.
The last thing I just want to close with is we've got on the calendar, you can always go to the calendar, see all the upcoming events. On the homepage of the Nest, every Friday, I missed one because I was out of town on vacation, but every Friday we post a weekly update. So I'm going to update you on who the top sellers were for the week, what's going on at Sampson that's exciting, and all the different classes coming up next week. It's only about 10 to 15 minutes, so trying to make it too long, but it gives a great overview where, we talk about all these different things. We can't go over every single class at every meeting, but, we've got tons of great classes going on all the time, so we try not to barrage you all with too many emails, but I know that seems like a lot of times, but the idea is I want you to get in the habit of you can always go to the calendar, you can watch that weekly update, that 10-minute update, get updated on all the things. Sometimes you can't watch the whole hour-and-a-half sales meeting, I get that, but if I can shorten that down to 10 or 15 minutes and give you the summary of what's going on, where you can be next week to build your business or to plug into those contract classes or whatever it is that you need to do, that's the best place to kind of get a summary of everything going on for the following week so that you know what's going on. Yes.
Yes.
Outside of that, any other questions from anybody? Anything going on exciting that they need filled in the blanks on? Probably forgot 5 things, but we're just really thankful. Maryland numbers and DC numbers are off the chart. You guys are doing amazing. Keep growing. You guys keep recruiting people. You keep doing a great job selling houses out there. I mean, you saw the PG chart, and there's a couple other counties that we've got great numbers in too, and some counties we're coming along in. But we're just so thankful for every single one of you out there, the great managers and brokers that are helping leading the staff. I've gone the whole time. I only made a couple jokes about my man Carl back there, but Carl Harper in the Bowie office that keeps growing, and he's doing a great job leading this office in Bowie, and you guys are rock stars out here. But all of our Maryland offices, you guys are doing fantastic. So thankful and proud, and the numbers that you're bringing to Cardinal Title Group, are tremendous, and that's what fuels this ship. And a year ago and 2 years ago, we were getting going with Cardinal in Maryland, and our numbers weren't as good, but right now they're fantastic, and I'm really so thankful for that, and we appreciate each and every one of those deals you bring to us.
And we're really so proud of all the work that you guys are doing and the work that they're doing. You guys are making a lot of people happy homeowners, and you're making a lot of sellers really happy right now and being able to move on with their life. Just a quick reminder that we are doing the orientation today. If you have not seen one, we're doing it today with Thomas and ESO right after this meeting. Back in this
And
space.
if you're watching and you have any friends that
Yes.
are interested in Sampson, come on down, see me in DC. I'm going right from here down to the Lily and Cactus to give a
I
presentation
like
about
that
Sampson.
name, the Lily and the Cactus.
It is. It's very nice. It's in the Hilton Garden Inn.
It's
but
better
it should
than
come up
Hilton.
with the other one.
We're going to the Hilton. Lily and Cactus is much better.
I'll try to recoup some energy in the next 30, 45 minutes to be able
He'll
to
have
talk
a Red
again.
Bull in the car on the way.
1 or 2. Sometimes it's a 2 Red Bull day. But we're excited about so many things coming. If you guys continue to support us, we'll continue to bring in great brokers like Kim, continue to open great offices, and we'll continue to support you in the best way. So thank you all for all your hard work, and have a great week.
Have
We'll
a
see you all
fantastic
next week.
week.
Take care.
Bye.